So what actually is Racing Stronger to get started?
Racing Stronger is it's an organisation which is set up by a few of us. The principle being that we want to promote the benefits of sim racing on people's mental health. Sim racing is just such a great safe escape from the stresses of real life. And I think it has helped so many of us over the years that we just had this idea of, okay, we want to show people what sim racing can do for you. But also, for people that are already sim racers, to provide a safe space for people to come and talk and share how they're feeling, and just give them that freedom to say, hey, look, this is fine to come talk about your mental health here. Nobody's going to judge you for it, so just go for it. Sorry, I can't hear you anymore.
That was my fault. Sorry. I was muting my mic. So I'll turn my attention to the charity race. How many years have you actually been doing that now?
It's only the second year. We so last year we ran a 3 hour solo race around Silverstone. This year it was Paul Ricard. We tried to schedule a couple of different formats for this year, but it turned out that actually the 3 hour solo thing was kind of popular to go back to. So we ended up rejigging it and putting it back in that. And I think our lesson for the future is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But yeah, this was the second one, but we plan to keep doing them every year from now on.
And obviously, the pair of us, we were doing the broadcasting for, well, not the broadcasting, the commentating on the race. What, from your point of view, what was the race like? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was mad. Sometimes with these charity events that you say, oh, it's a bit of fun. It's a chance to kind of just go and enjoy some racing for a bit without worrying about being too competitive. There was no lack of competition out there, and people were fighting hard, but people were fighting fair as well. It was a really fun watch, and as you'll know, at times, there were four or five people battling for the lead, and it was just crazy at times. But it was really exciting to watch. The obviously the penalties and things added an extra dimension to that. And Yeah, I'm pleased that it was such a good race as well as being something that could raise money.
As well, I want to just talk about the punishments as well. Could you just talk us through what some of them were?
Yeah, look, we're not the first people to have done this. It's not a new idea, but it works well. The concept being that those that are watching the stream can get involved as well, and donate money to issue penalties to drivers on track. And they range from quite small things like a drive-through penalty, or look, I'm going to make you stop for a new set of tires, which is probably going to mess up your strategy, all the way through to I don't care that it's only 10 minutes till the end of the race. I'm going to make you drop to last place, or even dragging people onto the stream to sing one line of a song. It's great that everyone took it in such good spirits and exactly the way it was intended. And it was a primary source of raising money.
And yeah, I want to talk about some of the other ways you guys raised money as well, because you had some supporters as well to go in with some products going into an auction. Could you just talk a bit about the auction?
Yeah, so my day job means that I have contact with a number of sim racing brands and technology brands as well. So there's a couple of really good contacts that I've got that I reached out to and just said, look, can you donate some products that we can auction off? So a big thank you to Moser Racing, who they donated one of their handbrakes, which we're auctioning off, and also to Intel. So their UK gaming marketing team put up a Core i7 processor and a motherboard to go with it as well. That we were able to auction off, and that raised some good money. And Intel have supported us 2 years in a row with that one. Great to have Moser come on board this time around as well. But we want to do more of that. So when we come to next year's event, hopefully we can have 4 or 5 different things up for auction. It's a good way for sim racers to get some cheaper gear, but at the same time, it raises money for us, and of course, it's good for the brand as well. They're seen supporting a sim racing organization that's raising money for mental health charity. I don't think does them any harm at all. So yeah, and also I will say that we use a website called 32 Auctions, which is set up purely for people to do auctions that raise money for charity. So there are very, very small fees from their side, and no fees for listing anything. So that's super helpful as well to be able to do it on the cheap.
And what's it been like trying to organize this event as well? Second year you've done it, so what was that like?
I couldn't do it without the team around me, and so the likes of Johnny and Matt, who are co-owners of Racing Stronger with me, um, are absolutely vital to getting events like this going. Sim racing events can be very simple to put together, or they can be quite complex. And when you start adding in lots of different things like we did, then there's a lot to be done. So I'm eternally grateful to the whole team for getting stuck in. Um, some elements of it are made easier by the kind of systems that we use. So I will say thank you to simracing.gp as well, who provided us with free servers for the event and for all of our community racing throughout the year. And it does kind of make everything quite simple from an organization point of view. But this is a team thing, and there were lots of people involved that meant that this event took place.
And how much money did you guys end up raising in the end, or are you still counting it up?
So where we're at the minute, and I love the fact that everything's digital now, so we don't have to sit here literally counting coins. But at the moment, we are just over £1,200. We've still got one auction left to finish, and a couple of promised donations still to come in. We've also got a little bit of revenue to come in from the Twitch stream and stuff like that as well. But at the moment, we're just over £1,200.
And who is all this money supporting?
Yeah, so what we're raising money for is a charity called Andy's Man Club. So Andy's Man Club is a UK-based charity that focuses on men's mental health, and as I said in the stream last night, that doesn't mean to say that sim racing thinks that we're all men, because we're not. There's a lot of females and non-binary people in sim racing, and we're certainly not saying that their mental health isn't as important. Of course it is, but Andy's Man Club do some amazing things for men's mental health, which I think we all know has has often struggled to be something that we talk about as much as we should. And one of the reasons that I created this was I've had my own issues with my own mental health in the past, and to a certain extent ongoing. As anyone who's had those kind of problems knows, they don't go away, they don't disappear. It's about how you manage things. Um, and in the past, I've heard things like, "Oh, man up." And in the past that was an acceptable thing to say. It's not now, because we're learning more to talk about men's mental health, and rightly so. And Andy's Man Club put on groups all over the country that give men a safe place to go and talk about this kind of stuff, and share their thoughts and feelings. And it's last year, before we did the first event, we had a few different charities in mind, and we actually put it out to vote. So all of the drivers and supporters of Racing Stronger could choose which charity we were going to support, and overwhelmingly they chose Andy's Man Club. They were very grateful last year. I still have my thank you card from them sat on my desk in front of me from last year, and I look forward to being able to send them an email in the next couple of days telling them that they've got some more money coming.
And from the sim racing perspective, why is it so good for people's mental health to, well, just hop on the sim and do something? Why do you think that is?
It's an escape, and I use the term safe escape because we all know that there are plenty of escapes from everyday life, but a lot of them are dangerous. You know, that may be drink or drugs or lots of different things that people could escape into, which take them away from the stresses and strains of their daily life, but actually create more problems in themselves. Um, Sim racing is a safe escape. As long as you don't get too stressed about the whole thing and get too competitive about it, it's one of those things that when you find the right community to go racing with, you make friends. You create a whole new batch of people that you've never spoken to before that can easily become some of your best friends in the world, despite you never really meeting them or spending any time with them. But even if you don't do that, even if it's just about jumping behind the steering wheel and driving, you know, sim racing now can be so immersive as an experience that you feel like you are really truly a racing driver at that moment in time. You know, whether you go the whole hog and have a VR headset on and get really immersed, or whether you're just doing it in front of a monitor. There's so many things to concentrate on. You know, whether it's your car setup or the battle that's going on track, or your lap times, or how to improve, or just the scenery that's around you whilst you're driving. All of those things just chip away at all of the daytime stresses. And the amount of times that I've come out to the garage where I do my sim racing, and I've sat down and I've had a bad day or whatever, and I'll almost think, I'm not sure I can be bothered tonight. But then you do, and by the time you get up and you get out to go back inside, you feel completely different. It's just it's a great hobby. It's a great hobby, and I'm a big believer in hobbies.
Yeah, and you quite briefly touched on it there, but how supportive have the community around you been in trying to support this event?
Oh, I mean, like I said earlier, it's impossible to run an event like this without a team of people. But it's not just the people putting the event on; it's the people competing, it's the people watching the stream, it's the people getting involved. And look, there are some people that watch our streams that never race with us, and it's entirely their choice. They've probably got a very good reason why they don't, but they still feel the benefits of being part of the community, and they want to be involved, and they contribute. And I think that's the other thing as well, that the generosity that we saw from the community in yesterday's event was humbling. And I think, just to touch on one other thing, Racing Stronger has got a Discord server that people can come into and talk, and there's a section on there that is literally just called mental health chat. And quite often we'll have people just jump in there and just vent about what is bad for them that day, and people will jump in and give them some reassurance, or offer them someone to chat to, or whatever. um and that for me is the definition of community, is it's people supporting each other and being there for each other. um and the whole thing that we do with Racing Stronger is really humbling. It was just a silly idea that we had a few years ago, and it's great to see some of the stuff that comes out of it now.
And I think finally, I want to just ask you, what was it like driving the safety car?
Well, you'll notice that it's not really called the safety car; it's the
Oh yeah.
unsafety car. So we always have a an unsafety car, and it's got always a humorously badly designed livery. So yesterday was a fake police car that was pretty bad. Um, um, but yeah, it's always good fun. And look, in the race last year, I might have made a couple of mistakes whilst driving the safety car. So I think everyone was expecting that last night, and it wasn't too bad until I got a puncture and ended up putting the safety car into the wall. And I think that confused a lot of drivers that were trying to follow me on the track. So you know, I think the safety car issues are now a proper tradition of this event. But also, actually, it did what safety cars do, and it bunched up the field and gave us some great racing towards the end as well. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's the only time I drive anything with a controller, and you can tell because it's pretty bad. But it's just another fun element of the event.
I was going to say, do you think it's important that you do that? Because it does, I mean, from a mental point, a health point perspective as well, it does add a bit of, no offense, it does add a bit of comedic value to it all.
It's supposed to. So
Yeah,
yeah, no offense taken there
yeah.
whatsoever. And that's why it's got a particularly bad design to it as well, and it's called the unsafety car. So I said last night's was a police car. Yeah, even had Rozzers written on the front of it in a sort of James May style tribute. But yeah, it'll be a different design next year, probably the same car, and no doubt it will cause yet more carnage.
And yeah, that actually, that's something I haven't asked. Is it so you'll be doing this again next year? Well, I assume, yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
absolutely, we'll be doing it again next year. Um, I should imagine we'll aim for December again. I think December's always a good time because a lot of normal racing communities sort of wind down a little bit in December with Christmas coming up. But also, I think Christmas is a good time to remind people that charity is important, and supporting charity is critical. And also, it does tend to be a time of year that a lot of people think about their mental health as well. So I think it's important to do it this time of year.